Flosstube. This is my channel, Stitching with Sandy, and I'm Sandy. It's nice to see you again. Today is Wednesday, November 23rd, 2022. This is Flosstube 27, and it is Thanksgiving Eve. I'm sure all of you have been really busy. I know I have, rushing around. We're not hosting Thanksgiving at our house, but we are going to my mother-in-law's, so there's been a lot of preparations and things that we need to get done before then. So that's why I'm coming to you late in the evening. But it's good to see you. I'm happy to be back. I'm going to do a Flosstube special edition. After Thanksgiving's over, I'm going to come back and share some cross stitch ornaments that I've done. Very excited about them, and when I take down my tree, I will be ready to decorate it. And so before I hang them all, I figured I'd share them with you. So that'll be fun. I hope that you guys are going to have a happy, healthy, and safe Thanksgiving tomorrow. If you're celebrating here in America, enjoy, be safe. If you have to drive, drive safe. We don't need any accidents or anything to happen. Everybody needs to be safe. Enjoy your food and your family, and I hope you make some wonderful memories. And if you're not in America, I hope you have a wonderful weekend. All right, let's get started. So the last time since I visited with you, my kindergarten class, started practicing Nutcracker. So we do a Nutcracker performance every year. Usually my class is the gingerbread kids, but this year we only have 4 kinder teachers because we now have 2 TK teachers, which is transitional kindergarten, and they've decided they're going to do their own show. So that means that we're going to be doing ours without them. So with only 4 teachers, we decided we needed to do 2 different dances. So our morning group will do one dance, and our afternoon will do another dance, and that'll make the whole production of Nutcracker. So my morning class is doing the gingerbread kids, and my afternoon class is doing the Russian dancers. So I'm very excited. I'm not good at choreographing dances, so it was really challenging for me 3 years ago when I came up with the gingerbread kids dance. So of course it was a lot of challenge to come up with the Russian dancers, but I think they'll be cute. And the good news is they're little, so when kindergartners do something, everybody sees the cuteness, and that's all that really matters. And it's a lot of fun, and they enjoy it. So that'll be coming up the second week in December. So we've been practicing a lot. Then the weirdest thing happened. I wasn't sick, but I went to school one day, and my voice felt a little scratchy. And I was talking in the class, and I already have a pretty high-pitched voice, so when I get excited, I can be really loud. I don't mean to be, but it does happen sometimes. Well, I was teaching, and my voice all of a sudden started sounding like Minnie Mouse, because when I start losing my voice gets even higher. So it started doing that, and of course my kinders were laughing. And I told them, what, do I sound like Minnie Mouse? And they all said yes. So that was funny. So I continued teaching, and then all of a sudden my voice went from Minnie Mouse to like really deep, and then all of a sudden there was nothing. And it was right during the overlap time when I had the AM students and the PM students. I have them each day for an hour and a half. And the AM students I dismissed to go home, when the PM students started to take advantage of the fact that I couldn't talk. So here I am ringing the bell every time I'm trying to get their attention, or tapping on the tables. I was doing jumping jacks one time because they weren't paying attention. And I realized I needed to stay home the next day because they just took too much advantage. But I stayed home, and for a couple of days, it kept going back up to Minnie Mouse, to nothing, to Minnie Mouse. And then finally it came back. I'm not sure what caused it. It was very strange, but my students had fun, and they were so glad that my voice was back by Monday. So I enjoyed an extra day home, got a lot of stitching done, even though I couldn't talk. And then, of course, we did have some bummer news. My car broke down. It started leaking coolant. And I don't know about you, but I am a creature of habit. And Monday through Friday, I have OCD. So Monday through Friday, I have a schedule to keep. and everything falls in place and I'm comfortable and happy. But sometimes in life, as we know, sometimes we get speed bumps and things don't go the way we want them to. Well, that happened when my car had started leaking coolant. We couldn't leave it go. We tried to call the dealership, but they didn't have any appointments till November 30th, and it's not safe to drive it around if it's doing that. So we started calling around. We don't really know anyone in this area. We've only lived here a couple years, and prior to that, my stepfather used to do all of our mechanical work. And since he's passed away, now we have to rely on word of mouth from friends or just trying and see what happens. So that's what we did. And I ended up having to leave it overnight. And so my poor husband had to take off work so he could taxi all of us around because all of us are in different schools. And then, so that was weird. It just throws you off at the beginning of the day, and then I was thrown off the whole day. So that was a little wackadoodle, but my car's back and it's working great, and I'm so grateful not to have to rely on my husband to carpool me around. So that was a bummer. And then we had our monthly stitch to get together in Temecula, and we had a new friend join us. Her name is Jan. Hi, Jan, if you're watching. She popped in and we got to meet her, and she's been stitching a while, and so it was fun to chat with her, and I hope to see her again at our next month's visit. Our group just keeps growing and growing, and it's so wonderful to have so many friends to join you, even if it's once a month. And then my Thursday group friends, we got together on Thursday, and we're getting huge, so I don't know how long we'll be able to occupy Panera Bread's room, but they haven't kicked us out yet, so we'll just keep going. And then the other thing that I did is I took my daughter's favorite thing to do each year is paint ornaments. And so we go to a place called Painted Earth, and you pick a ceramic piece, and then you can paint it there. And then afterwards you leave it, they fire it, and then you come back and pick it up. So I took them over there for Veterans Day. We spent the day there, and then we went out to lunch. It was a lot of fun. They each painted, one daughter painted a penguin figurine. That was Cassandra. And then Marissa painted a little owl ornament. And then I painted a snow stacker ornament. I went to pick them up today. I was able to bring the girls home, but they scraped off the bottom of my ornament because they wanted to hold it up on the still in the kiln, but they didn't scrape it all off. So it looked half painted and half not. So I insisted that they fix the bottom of it so it doesn't look like that. So they're gonna touch it up, and hopefully by Monday, I'll be able to pick it up. Once I have all 3 pieces, I'll share them with you because they came out really great. And it's a lot of fun, and it made memories with my daughters, and I love that. All right, so those are my updates. Really, that's all that's been going on. So let's get to the FFOs. I have 6 today. So the first one is the last one that I was going to do from Samplers in Santa's blog spot. That was the pattern. That's where I got the pattern, and it's sampler pair sampler number 3. And here it is. And I'm really, really happy with it. It's the largest one, so you will have seen in my opener, it's sitting in my double with the other 2. And I just love them. They came out so great. And so this was stitched on 32 count Milan linen, and that was so much fun to stitch, and I'm glad it's finished. Somebody did mention in my questions about my channel was, could I talk about some of the things that I do when I finish? So for this one, what I did is I ironed on some fusible, it's not fleece. Anyways, fusible interfacing, sorry, that's what it is. Fusible interfacing, and then I turned it over to the back, and on the interfacing, I drew the shape of a pear. And that was going to be my stitch line. So then I put that and some plaid back to back, and I sewed it all up except for at the bottom, I left an opening so I could turn it. After I sewed it, I snipped, if you snip any round edges that you have, you need to snip, snip, snip really close to, don't cut the stitching, but snip close to the stitching, and then that makes them all want to turn, so you get your curves in. So I turned it around, stuffed it, and then hand sewed up the bottom, and then when that was done, I used A-Leans to glue down some Lady Dot Creates pom-poms, and then I put push pins into them to hold it till it dried. And then when it was dry, I went outside to my peach tree and I broke off one of the dead limbs, and I used that as a stem, and I just put a little bit of hot glue on the tip of it and then just stuck it on there, so that way it'd be a stem. So that's how I did that. It was easy. I really like doing pillow forms. They're very simple. And then when I started cleaning up, I want to organize my fabric, and I've been watching other people and how they're doing it. So I started cleaning out my drawer that has all my fabric and figuring out what I need to order to organize it. And then I came across 2 pieces that I'd stitched but never fully finished that were stuck in there. And I don't know if I put them in there thinking, oh, I'll do them for the next show, and then I did it. I don't know, because it's from one's from June, one's from September. So here's the one from June. This was my this is from my old pile. This is a cherished teddy of the month. This is the June bear, and he was in my bin from a long time ago, and I had pulled him out. I think I was pulling out things to finish in the summer, and I put it in the drawer and totally forgot about it. So I finished it into a pillow. There's my finish. I really like it. I think it's cute. I glued on some pom-poms. I sewed 2 strips. I sewed a strip of fabric, and then I added the bottom one underneath it to kind of pull out the red and blue here. And that way, when I put it out in June, it could actually probably sit out all summer even. So that's my little pillow finish. And then the other piece that I was telling you I found was a September one. I had one of the sunflower pieces finished, but I didn't have it fully finished. So this particular piece is stitched on 14 count vintage country mocha, and the pattern is Susan's Salt Box House, and you can get that on Pinkernpunkin's blog. She creates patterns all the time, and she gives them away for free. She's super generous that way. And I had stitched this one, as you can see, last year, 2021, and I put it in the drawer and forgot about it. So what I did on this finish is I had a little block, you can see it's, I picked it up. I want to say it was like 89 cents. It was clearanced out, probably in the summertime at Michael's. I paid like 89 cents for it, and I forget what it said on the front. But I just used sticky board and some rickrack, and I used another piece with the green fabric on the back, and I just glued it right onto the block, so that way it would stand up. And then I had some paper sunflowers that I picked up at Hobby Lobby, and I just put them at the top. So this way it'll stand up all by itself. And I just love the colors. They're bright and cheerful. And I stitched it with the intention of using it at the beginning of fall. So it might be a little late for this year, but it's early for next year. So, and then the next one is I worked on, this is called All About the Acorn by Luhu Stitches. And this one I did at, I started it. I had the whole squirrel done it was Acorns and Threads virtual, I think it was called Autumn Gatherings. They did a virtual retreat, and I joined it, and I had stitched, this was last year, and I'd stitched the squirrel while the designer was talking and telling about her designs and how she got started and everything. And then I put it away because it was the end of fall, and I thought, oh, I'll do it later. And then I forgot about it. So when I was pulling out my things to work on for this month, I was like, oh no, there's that piece. So I went ahead and finished it. And it really only took me another day to work on it. I don't know why it sat there so long. And then for this one, this acorn, it's a little wooden piece that you can get at the Dollar Tree. So I got it at the Dollar Tree, and then I stained it with some paint. And to do that, all I do is I literally just put a dab of the paint right on the wood, and then I take a paper towel and that's damp, and then I brush upwards and downwards just to get it all into the grain of the wood, and I wipe it off, and it dries pretty quickly. And that's all I do to stain it. And then I use some Lady Dot chenille for the edge that I just glued in, pinned it on till it dried, and then pulled the pins out. So, and that's all I did for this one. It was an easy finish, and it comes with this little hanger. I haven't decided if I'm going to hang it or prop it up in the easel, but since it's going to be Thanksgiving tomorrow, I'll be packing everything up pretty soon, so we'll figure that out next year. But I'm happy to have another finish. I did buy Lou Who Stitches. She sells a lot of her patterns at Acorns and Threads, and she has another one where the squirrel's sitting right on top of the acorn. I did purchase that one. I haven't stitched it yet, but she has some really cute patterns, so if you haven't seen her patterns, check them out. You might find something you like. Then I did a Primrose Cottage Stitches, and I did Little Thankful pillow. For this one, I had seen somebody make their pillow longer by adding the fabric and the rickrack on the ends, and I decided I wanted to try that, and I like how it turned out. And this way I can lay it in front of something. It's not very tall, but it's long, and so that makes a statement for being thankful. So I will probably share this at Thanksgiving dinner tomorrow. But I'm very happy that I have it finished. And I like how it turned out. And this was a one-nighter, so if you're ever like on a crunch and you really want to get something done quick, Primrose Cottage has several patterns like this that get done in about a night, maybe 2 nights if you're not as quick as I am. But I feel like they're very fast, especially because they're wording, and then there's only a couple of small motifs on there. Now the next one was we had to turn lemons into lemonade, and it happens to all of us, I know, but let me tell you what happened. So you know how I said I joined the Corn Husk State Stitchers Stitch Along with the Primrose Cottage Christmas Rules, and I showed it in my last Flosstube, and I was so excited because I already got parts 1 and 2 finished. Well, I was so excited to finish part 2 that I was like, I wonder how many more parts there are, trying to figure out how many more weeks I'd be working on it. So I get the pattern out, and I'm looking at it, and I'm counting the parts, and I'm looking at my fabric, and sure enough, my fabric there's no way they were all going to fit on there. So then I was like, I've never done that. So usually you go to 1, 2, 3 stitch, and on 1, 2, 3 stitch they have a stitch fabric calculator, and I always use it every single time I stitch something because I really want to use the waste the least amount of fabric because I don't have a local needle workshop. So, and since I do stitch kind of fast, I don't want to be sitting here waiting for fabric for certain projects. So I try to be very wise about how I cut my fabric so that I always have a little bit left over to use for something else while I'm waiting for an order. So what had happened is when you put in your information, they give you 2 sets of numbers. The first set of numbers are what size your fabric are going to be. The next set of numbers is what size the stitch count will end up being as far as in measurements. Well, apparently I wasn't focused enough when I was running back and forth to cutting, and I looked at the first number, which said it needed to be 8 inches wide, and then I looked at the bottom second number, and it said 18 3/4. Yes, but that's the stitching a piece part, which I didn't realize, so I cut it at 8 and 18 3/4, and I zigzagged, and I was so proud of myself, and yes, there was no way it's gonna fit. So the first thing I did is rocket launched it across the room. I kid you not. My husband said, "What is wrong with you?" And then I threw a temper tantrum because I don't know about you, but when I get mad, that's what I did. And I'm not proud about it, but it happened, so I'll be truthful. So then I picked it up, and I was like, great, I have to start all over. Now I'm not going to want to do it anytime. I'm not going to be caught up with everybody else. And I like to stay caught up with everyone else because when you're doing a stitch along, a lot of people will start along, but I like to do it with everybody because I like to see everybody's progress with me, and I feel like they're right next to me stitching. So I was pretty much devastated. So then my husband says, well, can't you do something with the part you already did? And I said, I don't know, because they're so close together. And so I told him I'll have to think about it. So then I decided that the first piece was Christmas rules, and the piece underneath was deck the halls. So I decided to make deck the halls an ornament. Here it is. Let me show you. And I think it turned out beautiful. I'm very happy with it. If you can see right here is the border from the top of this piece, but it's actually the border of the one above it, Christmas rules, because each one has a border that runs underneath it. So here is the trick. I'm gonna tell you what I did in case this ever happens to you, because at first I thought I'll just make it into ornament and give it away so I don't have to look at it and remember that I had to throw it away because it wasn't going to work. But then I decided I'm not going to do that because I fell in love with my finish. So this is how I did it in case it ever happens to you. First, I took the stitch piece and I put some fusible web on the back. I ironed it right on because I knew I was going to have to cut at the top, and then I didn't want it to start fraying before I can turn it into an ornament or a pillow or something. So that's what I did, and that held it still. Then I added the fabric on the bottom, but I hadn't cut up off the top yet. I added the fabric. This is actually a ribbon that I sewed on first, and then I added the fabric at the bottom. And then when I was ready to start sewing the full thing together with the back, then I took my cutting and I cut into the piece on the top, probably about a ½ inch. And then I put it back to back with the fabric, and then I made sure that this part on the inside outside was on the top of my sewing machine so I could see, and then that way I made sure the needle went just above that border, just above, because there's literally maybe one or two stitches between this border and the first part of the next piece. And I wanted to make sure that I got it right there, and I did. And so it worked out. So then I added my hanger. You should always add your hanger on there, sandwich it between them before you sew. I did, and then afterwards I hand stitched on the bow and the little holly. And now I have decked the halls, and I have an ornament. And so turning lemons into lemonade, that's what I had to do. So I had to pick up and put my big girl panties on and figure out plan B. So whenever you get that way, just try to remember, it happens to all of us. Take a moment to throw your fit because we do need to get that out. And then when you feel better, pick it up and see if you can turn it into something else so that you don't end up throwing away all that time you spent stitching it, because the piece is beautiful. It's just, it wasn't going to be big enough. So I will go back to the drawing board. I did find another piece of fabric. Won't be the same fabric, but it's going to work, and I'll restitch it, and I'll be able to show you my progress, hopefully on my next floss tube. I haven't started it yet because I've been working on a piece for Twin Peak Primitives this weekend. I'm trying to finish it so that I can send it off. So I spent all weekend on it, so I haven't picked this one back up, but I will. So lemons, lemonade. Those are my FFOs. So I hope you like them, and I hope you liked hearing what to do if you have that happen to you, because I know I'm not the only one. It's not the first time something went sour, and it probably won't be the last time. So knowing that I could do something else with it makes it not feel so bad like it did when it first happened. So let's talk about the previous giveaways. So first of all, I have not sent out the last Flosstube winners giveaways. I didn't send them out. With my car being down, I was not able to get to and from the post office, but I will now. So for those of you who did win, I didn't forget about you. I'm gonna go over to the post office on Friday and get those packages mailed out to you. But I can tell you the winners for this time, and then I can send those out to the winners as well. So if you see this between now and Friday, and you notify me through my email that's listed in the box below, I will send yours out on Friday too. If not, as soon as you do, I will get them all together and send them out. So here are my previous giveaways were, it was Country Cottage Needleworks, Cottage of the Month, January. Okay, and the keyword for this one was snow. And the winner of this is Kathy Snavely. Kathy, congratulations. Kathy's one of my my subscribers who always participates in our swap. So congratulations, Kathy. It's going to be fun to send that out to you. And then the next one was Little House Needleworks, Sheep Virtues, and it was gratitude. And the keyword for this one was acorn. And the winner for this one is, I believe it's New York Needlework. It's NY Needlework. So I think that stands for New York. So congratulations. Make sure that you email me. My email is listed in the box below. Please be cautious that you don't forget the number 8 after my name. That way it gets to me. And then the third giveaway from last time was Stitch It with the Housewives Month to Month November from my friend Kimberly. She bought 2. It happens to all of us, so she said I could give it away on my channel. And the winner of that one is Jacqueline. And Jacqueline, I'm so sorry if I say your last name wrong. Liebfried or Liebfried. I'm not sure. This is how you spell your name. L-E-I-B, F as in Fred, R-I-E-D. So, Jacqueline, congratulations. I'm glad that you won. Please email me your address and I will get these prizes out. Congratulations, ladies. All right, and I'm going to get a quick sip of water. I've been noticing that I always seem to get dry and then I have a coughing attack. So, I try not to eat or drink food on the channel, but it's better than you watching me coughing up a storm. All right, so I do have an FO. I don't have a fully finished on this one because we, where did I put the pattern? Oh, I found it, sorry. So a group of us in our stitching group on Thursday night, some of us went up to the Wear It Well class with Kathy Haberman from Hands On Design. And some of us just joined us because they thought it'd be fun. So one of the pieces that we bought there was this pattern. It's called Stitch Some Happy. And we decided we'd do a stitch along, and we were excited because everybody was choosing their own fabrics, their own floss colors, and we haven't fully finished them yet, but when we do, I will share those. But we all had our own take on it. So some of us stitched the called for colors, maybe not the called for fabric. Some of us stayed with the called for colors, but brightened them up or darkened them a little bit. And then some of us just completely changed theirs all around. So I'm going to share that with you. I'll show you mine, and then I'm going to share the pictures of the ones that are finished so far. We have a couple more friends that aren't finished with theirs yet, so when they get done, I will share theirs. But let me show you. Here's mine. I decided that I wanted it to look like me. I don't have a cross stitch, I don't have a craft room, but this is a good reminder to stitch some happy every day, and I try to stitch every day. I love chalkboards, my favorite, so I chose this linen, and it's Picture This Plus Dusk, and I changed all the colors. My favorite color is green, so I picked out several greens from my Classic Colorworks collection, and I stitched it that way. And then in the border here around the letters, and then across the top here and between the some letters, I stitched with black so that it would pop a little bit more. So I really like my conversion. I had fun doing it, and now I have something that just says Sandy all over it. So let me show you what the others look like. They are right here. Are they not the most beautiful? I can't wait to see how everybody FFOs it. That's gonna be fun too, because we're all gonna do it differently. I am trying to find a piece. So there's an antique shop in a city over from me, and we went to see if I could pick up, she had the perfect piece the last time I was there, but I didn't buy it because my husband said, well, when are you gonna finish the circle? Most of your things are not circles, which he's right. I have a few, there's one right there. I have a few, but I don't do a lot of circles. So I put it back down. Well, it was perfect. It was painted with chalkboard white, and it was like an iron, like a wrought iron material, and it stands about like this tall on a stand, and at the top was a perfect spot for a circle piece. And so we went back there because I told him, see, now I have something that I could finish for it, and the color's perfect, everything. So we went back there, but the lady didn't answer. She didn't open the shop. It was supposed to open at 12, and we stayed for half an hour, and she didn't open up the shop. So we left. So I tried 2 other antique shops to see if I could find a second choice. They didn't have anything. And then I called her, and she was gonna close before I could get over there because I had an eye doctor's appointment. So I didn't get back over there. So hopefully, fingers crossed, when I do get there, the piece is still there. If not, I have to pick out a plan B, and that's fine. But it's the hunt for the piece is so much fun. And if I don't, then I think I'm gonna go to Hobby Lobby and hunt for something special for it. But so that's what I'm gonna do with that one. So I'm going to put that pattern in today's giveaway. So stay tuned for this. I would love to share it because all of us have it. I'm not gonna stitch it again, and I want someone else to be able to stitch some happy, so I will pass it along. All right, so I keep checking my notes. Want to make sure I stay on track and don't forget anything. All right, let's come to whips. So whips, so I did a lot of work on the Twin Peak primitives. It's actually gonna be completely finished by tomorrow morning before we leave for Thanksgiving. I'm just doing a very bottom border piece to it, and I worked on it this morning before I started FFOing my projects, and so it's almost done. So that'll be done, and then my plan is to move on forward with stitching some Christmas ornaments, which I can't wait. I have so many to stitch. But let me show you what else I've been doing. So I worked a tiny little bit on Teresa Koget's Strawberry Manor. And when I say tiny, I mean, so here's the last release of well, not the last one. One more comes out December 15th. It's that tiny piece right there. Okay. And so here's what I did. This is so funny. It's almost not worth showing, but it is stitching and it counts. So here's my piece, and that's where I'm at. And then this is what I did. Literally, all I did was the cat. I know that's not much, but it's something and it counts, so I'm showing it. Unfortunately, when I'm model stitching, it takes away from what I can show you, and then I feel like I didn't do anything. But so every stitch counts, and then that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. But it'll get some more love. I plan on getting that done. My goal is to have it done by the end of December because she's going to do a new stitch along in January by January 15th. So if you're not a Patreon member, level 4, because you have to be level 4 to do the stitch along, she's coming out with another one in January, so you have time to join. If not, don't fret, because all of her pieces will eventually be put out to the public, and then you can purchase it. I know that this particular one, she is shooting to release it soon, but if not before Nashville, she's definitely going to release it in Nashville. So it's a great one. I love the colors. Then my next piece was my Thanksgiving piece that I wanted to work on, and it's the Thankful Quaker by Bent Creek. And I just love this piece. My sweet friend Melissa bought it 3 times, and so she gave it to me, gave one to me, gave one to my friend Barbara, and she has one. And the plan was that we're gonna stitch it. We're all gonna do it. I'm not sure if they've started theirs yet, but I did get mine started. So I have the silverware, and then I began the Quaker here. This is a pumpkin, but the color nutmeg from Gentle Arts, I can't find it anywhere. It's like nowhere to be found. Everybody's out of it. So I'm going to look at one of the suggested flosses and hope that I have it, because I would like to finish this up. I will, even though Thanksgiving's tomorrow, and my plan is to have this done by the end of this month, because I don't want to put it in the whip pile. I want to have it done. So we'll see if I get it done. I'll share it with you next time. And then the next one, oh, the one that I'm stitching along with my daughter. Now this one has been so helpful in stitching in the car. When my husband was driving us around, I stitched in the car, because since he was driving us around, that meant I couldn't come straight home from work. So I had to sit in the car with him and wait an hour for my daughters to get out of school, and then an additional half hour for my son to get out of school. And I'm not a very patient person like that, and so I take stitching with me to give me something to do. And so I'm doing Frosted Pumpkin snow globes. Let me see if I have the picture. I don't know if I have it. Oh yes, I do. This is the one I'm doing, and they did an ornament sign up, and they only showed the first one, which is the one my daughter's doing. It's the penguin, and the rest were surprises. So I'm doing the reindeer. I've almost got the globe finished. I just need to do the part down here where Santa's in his sleigh. I'm not sure how we're finishing them. I was going to look. I know that a couple of different companies that put out wood pieces, like Chantel's 141 design and then the Scarlet Sky designs. I saw one time when I was browsing a snow globe cut out in wood, but I didn't check the measurements. So when this is finished, I'm gonna check the measurements, and maybe I can get one for, there's 4 designs altogether, but I'm gonna turn one into a 5th one, so I'll have 5. So I wanna get one for my daughter and then for the 4 that I do. So hopefully I can find that. And that one's all called for colors, perforated paper, 14 count. And then my next one is exciting. This one should be done hopefully by the next Flosstube, because I want to decorate with it. So let me show you my plan. I got a piece for it. I'm super excited. I can't wait to dip into it. But the piece is Prairie Schoolers Christmas Alphabet. Here is the chart. And yes, and I'm doing, so on the Jolly Jabber years ago, I'm not sure how long ago, Kimberly Jolly and Lori Holt both did a stitch along for the Christmas alphabet, but they changed the colors to stitch it on black. So I looked at there too, because my friend Barbara told me about it. So her and I are stitching it. And I looked at the colors and I made a couple changes, but I wanted to do them on black and I wanted to do them separate. So Barbara's stitching the whole alphabet together. I wanted to do something like they have here, but I didn't want to make them pillows. So I'm going to show you what I ended up deciding on. So far I have the M for Mary. I made all my letters red and made sure that all the borders are green. So there's Mary, M-E, R, another R, Y, and then C. And that's as far as I've gotten. But these take me one evening to stitch, so I have no worries that I won't have it done in time. I will. And let me show you what I've decided I'm going to do with them. So I wanted a banner to put on my mantle, and I want it like what they have. I want to say Merry Christmas. So on Oriental Trading Company, I use that company a lot for things for my classroom, for projects for my kiddos, or supplies like stickers and pretty paper and pencils and stuff that I can give them, or little toys for the treasure box. And they had these, and these are little triangle banners, and they have the little hole, and it comes with the twine to string them. But I bought some felted wool felted balls, red and green and white ones. So I'm gonna string some of those between them. And I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take, I'm gonna Mod Podge some scrapbook paper on here, printed, and then I will cut the squares out and put them on top. So I think that's what I'm gonna do, and I'm so excited about it. So I'm gonna go shopping and pick up some Christmas paper. I was gonna do fabric. I thought fabric would be fun too. So if I can't find paper, I might rely on fabric after all and Mod Podge it down and just sand off the edges so it stays. But I bought 3 packages of these, and I was so excited to have found them because it's the perfect finish for these letters. And then I can hang it right here on my mantle. So stay tuned because it won't be long now. As soon as I finish that model piece, I'm gonna hit the ground running, and I probably won't get to stitch much tomorrow, except for maybe in the car, but Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, it is going to be a stitching festival in my house. I have no other plans, and that's the best part about Thanksgiving break. All right, so now my next one, are you going to Jingle Ball? I'm going to Jingle Ball. So I got into classes, I was very lucky, and I got into several of them. There's a sampler tour one. It didn't cost anything, you just had to sign up. It was limited spaces. That one's with Erica Michaels. I thought I would like to educate myself a little bit more on samplers, so that was the interest in signing up for that one. And I've never met her, so that'll be fun too. But I also got into the ink circles, and the ink circles one, I chose it not for the design, although it's cute and I'll show it to you, but because I wanted to learn the finishing. The finishing's a little bit different finishing than what I've done before, and they're called Swedish Neat Bells. Swedish Neat Bells. So here they are, and the design around it's very intricate. Tracy sent the whole kit, and it comes with everything to finish them. She said to do pre-stitching ahead of time so that we can work on learning how to make them into those pieces. And so on that, I started, I'm not quite done yet. Here's the border that I was talking about. And then I'm gonna do the reindeer one. I'm not really interested in the design so much, but I like the border, and I think you could find other small designs that you could put in the center instead of the ones that come on it, because the ones that are on it are like, I think there's a goat or a ram. Let me look again. There's a reindeer. There's like a urn with the flowers in it. There's a candlestick holder. It looks like a ram or a ram. Yeah, and then there's like a bird. And then there's an angel, and she's stitched in red. And I think it's Lucia. Anyways, I think it's her. And so none of those are my interests. But I figured I'd do the reindeer, and then once I know how to do the finish, I can use that technique for other projects. So there's that. And then I also got the hands-on design one, but Kathy put on a piece of tape for do not open. So I have my box. It's supposed to be a surprise. We're supposed to open it the day of it. So I'll open that up and see my piece in there, and hopefully I can get that stitched up quickly. I love her designs. She sent it in a priority box because she wanted to make sure with everybody's crazy weather that their boxes didn't get wet. And mine, I'm so glad she did. I'm so glad. She sent it and she put it in a big giant priority box. And look, it still came scrunched because the priority box was squished on top. I don't know why that was, because the mailman didn't put it in my box. He put it on my porch. So I don't know if he rocket launched it from his truck or if it got squashed in at the post office before he got it. But and then she's so sweet. She says, do you want me to send you in a different box? No, because I will probably use this as storage for myself. So I'm not worried about it. I'm just grateful that she did decide to mail it with a priority box, because I can't imagine what it would have looked like if it weren't in that box. So that'll be a surprise. I'll share with it after the Jingle Ball. I hope you're going. I figure if we can somehow message each other at the Jingle Ball, I don't know how, but maybe we could figure out which stitching rooms that we're in and we can see each other there. So let me know if you're going to the I can't speak. The Jingle Ball. Let me know if you're going. And if you got into any classes. I got into those 3 classes, and I got into one more, Noteworthy Needles. And that one, again, that was a seasonal one, but the finishing is what made me curious. It looked like it's like a trifold. You know, like if you're looking at a pamphlet and you could open this side and you could open this side, that's what it looked like. So I'm interested in the finishing. So I signed up for that one too. It's no pre-stitching, but that one's on its way. It's recently been mailed, so I can't wait till it gets there. So I'm in, what, 1, 2, 3, 4 classes. So hopefully it'll be worth it. It'll be worth it. Plus, it's gonna be a lot of fun. I've already picked up some jammies. I've got my Jingle Ball. I got my Jingle Ball shirt merchandise, and I'm gonna get some cozy sweatpants and some fun fuzzy slippers, and I will be ready. I am not dressing up in a formal gown. I'll leave that to Stephanie Webb, but I'm looking forward to it. All right, so that moves us on to haul. So let's see if I can entice you to buy some things. All right, so I got quite a bit this time. As I told you the last time, I was waiting on my orders to come in the mail. They finally did. So I got Little House Needleworks, Alice's Winter Wonderland. That's this one. I just thought it was cute. I like the shape of the middle house. I thought that was sweet. And then I got From the Heart Needle Art by December Quaker. And Hands-On Design Winter Solstice. I thought this one was pretty. She did a trunk show recently, I want to say on her last Flosstube, and she showed this, and I had never seen it, so of course I hopped on and ordered it right away. I love it. I love the coziness of the little cabin, and I love the dark fabric. So I'm going to stitch that this year. Then I ordered Little House Needleworks Gather Ye Pumpkins. I saw a Flosstuber, I just finished it, and I'd never seen it before, and so I immediately jumped on and ordered it. And this one, I don't remember how I stumbled upon it, but it's so pretty. It's called Winter's Peace Sampler by Artful Offerings. And I thought this would be a wonderful January stitch. It's so beautiful. I just love that. All right, so then a lot of the Little House Needleworks, the reason why I got them was because Fat Quarter Shop had them on sale, so that I went and ordered the other ones. And then I wanted to get the Early Americans, and they were sold out when I wanted to buy them, but I had them notify me. I was hoping they'd still be on sale, and they were. They came in probably 2 days after, so I got them. So there's Betsy Ross. I'm sure you've seen these, but I'll share anyways in case you haven't. John Hancock, and Martha Washington. That's a big house. A lot of white. Nathan Hale. I love the way the sun's done on that one. Freedom. I believe this is the center patch. And I also know that Vonna Pfeiffer has a border that she created on her blog. So I'm probably going to go there and print it out too, because I don't know when I'm going to start them, but I just don't want it to not be available when I do. And then Paul Revere. And Abigail Adams. And Patrick Henry. Another one of those all white houses. I don't really mind the white. I really don't, but. And then Molly Pitcher Hayes. And that's all of them. So I've always wanted to stitch them. I didn't go and get them. And when I saw the whole bundle was on sale with Fat Quarter Shop, I jumped right in and got it. All right, so that takes care of that. And then my friend Gina, sweet Gina, hi Gina, she went to the Dying to Stitch retreat. I was so jealous. She got to go meet Brenda Gervais. I hope to meet her one day. And she shared all her loveliness when she got home. And of course I was like, I need that. So she told me, call Dying to Stitch, they still have some. So I called because I wanted Santa Stops Here. And I know a lot of you have seen it because a lot of people are sharing it, but oh my gosh, when I saw it, I had to have it. And my friend Sarah and I are going to stitch this. We decided we'll do it and we'll start it, and it doesn't have to be done this year. It'll be done in time for next year. And then along with it, I got Rudolph and Friends. And this is late to the party. I'm always late to the party. This is A Witch in Her Garden. And so here's the drum, okay? And I didn't get the little piece on top, but I'm sure I can get one next year. I'm not worried about it. But here's the thing. When people were showing it, I didn't realize really what it was. I was like, oh, it's a witch. She's gardening. I'm not a gardener. So I was like, not a big deal. But somebody showed it like this. I'll take a look. And I saw all those sunflowers and I said, OMG, I need this. So of course I asked her for it too. And then, excuse me, I also bought the Prairie Schooler button up. I had seen this one done made by Michelle McGraw. She used somebody's color conversions and they're like blues and whites. It's so pretty. So I don't know if I'll do that, but I might do it with green. We'll see. And then I got Country Cottage Needleworks Waiting for Santa. I'm not sure if I showed this last time. My friend PJ wanted to look at it and I couldn't remember if I pulled it out of my haul or if I pulled it out of stuff that needs to be typed into my spreadsheet. So if I saw it already, if I showed it last time, I'm sorry. All right, so then PJ, speaking of which, she said, did you see the piece that everyone started at the retreat? She went to the Stitch West retreat, and I guess they did one the previous year, and they put their last stitches in it this year, and so they picked a new piece and to do the same thing. Well, she was like, it's so pretty, I want to do it. And I said, well, what is it? And she said, all she had to say was drawn thread, and that sold me. So it's the Sunnyside Sampler. Here it is by the Drawn Thread. It's beautiful. And we've decided we'll go ahead and stitch it together. So we're gathering our things. I'm not sure when we're starting, but both of us agreed that we both have the pattern now. We just need to pull our I'm doing DMC threads. I know that it comes with needle NPS or needle point silks, I guess is what it's called. I don't know the abbreviation. Anyways, I'm going to do DMC instead, and I think PJ is too, so now we just have to find our fabric. And I think it's just a matter of the two of us looking into our stash. I think we both have fabric, we just haven't chosen one yet. So that'll be my future. So that's on my haul, but I do have some Happy Mail, and I believe that's next on the list. Let me check. As I said, I'm very much scheduled order. Okay. Oh yes, my Happy Mail. So besides my Jingle Ball items, I was last year, I don't know, last year. Yeah, last year, Missy and Kathy from Two Needles Pulling Thread both stitched for their snow stitch a piece, and it was beautiful. And I was admiring it last year when I started watching them. And so I thought, I want to do that in January, but I don't know what the name of the pattern is so that I can order them all. And I couldn't remember. I knew it had to be either Little House Needleworks or Country Cottage Needleworks. So I messaged Missy and I asked her, hey, can you tell me the name of that pattern that you and Kathy did last year for your snow stitch? I want to do mine in January, so I want to order it because I knew that Fat Quarter Shop had their sale, and if it happened to be Little House, then I could get them on sale. And then she says, do you want them? She's all, I have them sitting here. You could just have them. I was like, what, really? And she said, yeah, they're just sitting here. So here they are. And it was called Snow Village. And no, it was not Little House, it's Country Cottage. So there's, this one is called the Iced Coffee Cafe. And then there's the Ice Creamery. I don't know if you've seen them before, but they're so cute. Snow Cone Cart. I love snowmen. They're like my favorite thing to stitch. And my Christmas tree is all snowmen's. Then this is the Snow Village banner. And snowball stand. That's so cute. And Snow Boutique or Boutique. And popsicle cart. Frozen hot chocolate shop. I can't imagine what frozen hot chocolate tastes like. I like it all warm and toasty. And then skate and sled shop. Peppermint parlor. And snowflake stand. And then look what she threw in with it. She threw in Little House Needleworks Old Glory, which was on my wish list at 123 Stitch. Specifically because, one, I like it for Americana, but two, the little bird up here. And then she sends me these cute little finishing pieces. Some chenille. Isn't he cute? And I think this is called eyelash trim. It's all fuzzy, so cute. And then some baker's twine. And I just love that. And then they smell like candy. I don't know, and I told her, when you purchased them, did they smell like candy? And she said, no, I think I had them in with some of my mint chocolates. And I was like, ooh, well, it smells really good. So that was a nice surprise. So thank you, Missy, if you're watching. I appreciate that. And so that is my Happy Meal. All right. So that brings me to my last video. It was my 1 year anniversary for Flosstube, and I asked people to share things that you'd like me to change, things that you'd like me to add, or questions you might have for me. And everybody is so kind and sweet. I didn't have one rude comment, and I don't expect to get rude comments from stitching friends, but I know it can happen sometimes, but it didn't happen. And nobody wanted me to add or change anything, but I did have questions. And so I wrote down all the questions, and I think since there's so many and I don't want to make my Flosstube too long, I'm going to do a couple each time till I've answered them. So in the meantime, if something comes up and you want to ask, please feel free. But today I chose 2 questions that kind of go together, and that way I can share a little bit more about me. So hopefully you're interested, but if you're not, I will be doing a giveaway afterwards. So please stick around or fast forward if you need to. All right, so the questions were tell about your children, and how did you come up with your children's name? So I am going to tell you about my children. I also will be including a little mini video of a couple of snapshots of them so you can see what they look like. And my grandson, I only have one. I don't get to spend any time with him because they live in Arkansas, but they send me pictures from time to time. And one of these days when they come back and visit, I'll get to cuddle with them too. But so I have 5 children. My oldest son is Vincent, and Vincent lives in Arkansas. He is a firefighter, and he is going to be getting married in May. And he's going to marry a sweet girl named Gloria. Sorry, her name's Gloria, and she has 2 daughters, Luna and Jazzy, or Jasmine. And together they have my grandson, Luca. So he lives there. They have been gone since Luca was born in July of, not this last summer, the summer before. And they moved out there. I think the last time I saw him was in August, which was a long time ago. I did get to FaceTime him on Christmas last year, and they send me pictures from time to time. I guess he's standing and he's taking a couple of steps, so that's exciting for them. It makes me sad because I would love to be a big part of his life, but it's hard to do that when there's distance between us. So we'll see when I get to see him next, but I'll be working on his ornament. I stitched him an ornament last year, and I plan to do him one every year. So I have one picked out for this year too. So my son Vincent got his name because my brother was a wrestler in high school, and one boy on his wrestling team's name was Vincent. And I asked him, do you go by Vincent, Vince, or Vinny? And he goes, no, I go by Vincent. My parents call that all the time, and it just stuck. And I told him, I love your name. I'm going to name my firstborn son after you. And we giggled and laughed, and it was a joke. But I really did love the name. Well, my first marriage, my husband's name was Joe, and when we had Vincent, Joe's middle name was Vincent, and his father's name was Vincent Joe. So we just reversed it again. So it went Vincent Joe, and then Joe was born, and it was Joe Vincent, and then my son was born, and so we switched it back to Vincent Joe. So I did name him Vincent after all, and I did run into my friend years later, and when I told him I named it after him, he was like floored, couldn't believe it. But it just happened to be lucky that I married someone with that name, so it worked out. So that's how Vincent got his name. My next child down is my Wesley. And Wesley is an engineer. He works for a dental company with the machines that they have to put in there. I don't know all the details about it, but he loves it. They've had him travel several places. He lives in Missouri. And I recently visited him, not this summer, but the summer prior. I got a really bad case of vertigo, and so the doctor told me I shouldn't be going into high elevations for a while. So I haven't been able to go back, but he has a wonderful girlfriend that he lives with. Her name is Maddie, and they're a great, sweet couple. They have 2 pets, a dog, like a little Chihuahua, and a cat. And my son loves his cat. And so, so you'll see pictures of him in there. And then I have my next son down is Trevor, and he's 16. He just turned 16 on the 2nd. So he's in high school. He's a sophomore in high school. He is, he kind of was like Sheldon from the Big Bang series. If you watch that show, he's kind of nerdy, very, very smart, very intelligent, and he's proud of it, and we're proud of him. He's always being asked for honors classes, to take all these honors classes. He gets out straight 8+s, even in Spanish. I don't speak Spanish. My husband does, but we don't speak it in the house, so he doesn't get that. He only hears it when he's speaking or when he's spending time with his grandparents. But he's taking Spanish and he's excelling at it. So he's pretty amazing. We expect that he'll be either an engineer or some form of a scientist, because that's what is interesting to him. And recently, he's found history to be quite interesting. So we'll see. Originally, he wanted to be a paleontologist or an archaeologist, and I don't know if that is the same direction he's going, but he's got time to figure that out. But he's a great kid. He used to be in band. He's not anymore. He's focusing on his engineering classes and just enjoying high school. And so we're really proud of him. And so you'll see a picture of him with some books. That's how you'll know it's him. And my oldest son, when you see Vincent, you'll see him with his son. And Wesley, you'll see he's wearing a beanie. They all look very different, so you'll be able to tell them. Then my next set of children are my twin daughters. They're 12 years old, and they're Marissa and Cassandra. And Marissa is very artsy. She loves to paint. She loves to draw. She's taken several art classes. She's super creative. She can she'll imagine something, and then she'll go dig in the trash and take out supplies and build something. She's very creative that way. And then she is doing tech theater this year. She's already taken art, trying to figure out just what she really, what's going to be her passion. She hasn't really found her passion yet. And so they're both in 7th grade. And Cassandra, she has found her passion. She has decided that drama is something she wants to do. So she's doing theater. She made it into advanced theater this year, and she's excited about the play coming up. She's the kind of little girl that just dances to her own tune. If something makes her giggle, she giggles. If she doesn't want to do something, she'll just tell you she doesn't want to do it. So they're my light. They really bring a lot of joy to my life. So let's see. I told you about Vincent's name. Wesley got his name. Poor kid. So all of my children have someone in the family's name. If it's not their first name, it's their middle name. So Vincent had his father's name, and he has his father's name, Vincent Joe. And then Wesley's name is Wesley Michael. Michael was my uncle. And Wesley, I wanted to name him Jared. I really wanted to name him Jared, but my ex-husband didn't understand how you would spell it. I don't know. He didn't like the name from the very get-go. And we couldn't agree on a name. So somebody gave me a book of names. And so we spent time going through them, picking out ones that I liked, picking out ones he liked, and then talking about it. And we kept going, we're never going to come up with a name, and he's going to be due in a week. So finally we get towards the end of the alphabet, and I see the name Wesley, and I said it, and I was like, that's a cool name. So I told him, what do you think about Wesley? Thinking he wasn't going to like it, and he liked it too. So it took us almost the entire time I was pregnant with him to come up with his name. I knew Michael was going to be his middle name right away because I wanted to name him after my uncle. And it just went well, Wesley Michael. So that's how I got his name. Trevor is with my husband that I'm with now. And his name was hard to come by too. I had thought of a lot of names, and my husband would jokingly say, that's too white of a name. And then he would purposely pick very Mexican names, and like Pablo, or what was somewhere, Javier or Jesus, something like that. And I was like, no, I don't really want it to be that strong of a name. Let's keep talking about it. And so finally, I had remembered that there was someone that I went to high school with named Trevor, and I liked that name. So I told him, what do you think about the name Trevor? I think that's a cool name. And we wanted to make sure most of our kids' names were not common. We didn't want them to be common names. We wanted to pick names that weren't that popular. And so when I said Trevor, he was like, oh yeah, I like that name. So that's how Trevor got it. His middle name, he's named after my brother. His name is Trevor Anthony, and my brother's name is Anthony. And then my twins came. Now my twins was a very big surprise. When we found out that we were pregnant, we found out, 1, that I was already 17 weeks, and 2, that I was carrying twins. And so that was quite the shocker. But it was a pleasant surprise, and I'm really thrilled that I ended up having girls. But I knew Marissa, my grandmother is my muse, I guess you would say. She's the kind of person I hope to always be like. She was amazing. She was spunky. She was creative. She was family oriented and loving and kind. And I try to be all of those things. And I always wanted to name a daughter after her. And my grandmother's name was Marcel. And she didn't like her name. She didn't like her name so much so that she invented the name Annette. She didn't have a middle name because in France at the time they didn't give middle names. And so I was like, well, where did Annette come from? And she said, oh, my neighbor helped me come up with it. And so she went by Annette. And so I told her, well, Grandma, if I ever have a daughter, I'm naming her after you because I think the name Marcel is beautiful. And she said, you better not. I hate that name. So I told her, okay, well, I'll compromise and I'll make it my daughter's middle name. And she was okay with that. So Marissa, my very first classroom teaching, I was student teaching, there was a little girl in there named Marissa, and I thought it was beautiful, and it was very Hispanic, which was perfect for my husband's family. And so I said, what do you think about Marissa Marcel? Isn't that beautiful? And my husband thought so too. And then everybody kept saying, well, what are you going to name the twin? Because Marissa was baby A. And I said, I don't know yet. I've picked out Marissa so long that I never thought of a second daughter. So we thought about names, and people are funny when you're having twins. They either want you to do like Eminem, since Marissa make the other one a M name, like then they want to rhyme them like Marissa and Melissa or Marissa and Carissa. A lot. And I was like, no, I don't want rhyming names. I don't want to do Eminem. That's silly. Um, so, so then somebody said, well, what if you named her after you? And I said, well, growing up, my name is Sandra. And growing up, I grew up in a neighborhood that was predominantly Hispanic. And so everybody always called me Sandra. And I don't like that name at all. So then I started going by Sandy because they didn't call me Sandy, they called me Sandy. And so, so it changed how I felt about my name. And my name is Sandra Lee. So I always wished my name was Cassandra because I figured if it's Cassandra, maybe they won't call it Sandra. So I said, maybe I'll name her Cassandra Lee. So I did. I named her Cassandra Lee. She only has one S in her name. Everybody misspells it. And they still call her Cassandra, and she hates that name too. So originally we thought our nicknames for our twins would be Mary for Marissa and Cassie for Cassandra, but neither girl wanted a nickname. They both go by Marissa Cassandra. So that's how my kids got their names, and I want to show you a visual of my kids, so I hope you will be patient with mom bragging time, but I did put a little clips together of a few pictures of my children so you can see them. And I'll insert that right here. Did you see my cute little grandson? I love the picture of him holding on to the truck like he's driving. How cute. He has a great smile. It looks exactly like my son Vincent when he was a baby. But that's my family, and those are the answers to those questions. So if you stuck around this long, thank you. I hope I didn't draw out too long. That's why I didn't want to go through all the names. But let's get to my new giveaways. So let's see, I should have them sitting here. Oh yes, sorry, they were right next to me on the chair. All right, so the first one I'm going to do, I did this one last year. I'm going to share my finish with you once I Christmas decorate because I changed it a lot. But I'm giving it Stitchy with the Housewives, Silent Night. This one, I love this pattern, but I couldn't, and I don't know if you can see it. Okay, so here's the little houses and the barn and the animals in the truck, some trees, and then you have Santa flying over the barn. And then it says Silent Night, and then you have the church here, like it's floating in the sky. I thought that was kind of weird that Santa was flying under the church. Now, if Santa wasn't flying there, if he was flying up here, I might have thought of the church up on a hilltop, but for whatever reason, it really bothered me. And so I moved the church down. So now mine was like a long skinny piece, and then I turned it into a wreath. So when I get my Christmas decorations out, not the next video because I'll do my ornaments, but the video after that, I will share my piece so you can see it. It came out beautiful, just the way I wanted it. So I'm giving this one up. The keyword for this one is church. So if you're interested in Silent Night, please use the keyword church, and don't say giveaway, don't say free, just use the keyword, and then I will pull random comment picker will pull a winner at next time. And the next one I'm doing is Country Cottage Needleworks Winter Welcome. This was a piece I bought 2 of, and here it is. I'm going to stitch mine in January, and I would like you to use the keyword house. Keyword is house if you're interested in stitching this one. And then my last one, as I told you earlier, is Hands-On Design, Stitch Some Happy. And it even comes with a cute little tag in there. Oops, I showed the pattern, sorry. There's a little tag in there if you want to use it as a floss drop. Bling, I guess it would be a floss drop bling. I'm going to leave it in there. So, and the keyword for this one is stitch. So if this is something you're interested, use the keyword stitch. And those are my giveaways for this time. So, if you want to win the giveaways, one, don't say giveaway as I just said. Say the keyword, but you also have to answer my question. And the question of the day is, what is your favorite Christmas cookie? We're going to be doing a cookie exchange coming up soon. All of us will be making cookies, and I like to try new ones each year, so share what you love. My current favorite, I should say current favorite, because it seems like every time I find a new recipe, that becomes my new favorite. But my new current favorite for the last 2 years is I make a white chocolate chip cranberry cookie, and it is so delicious. It's beautiful. The cranberries bring out that pretty red for Christmas, and they taste delicious. They're so good. So that's my current favorite. But what's yours? And let me know, because if it sounds interesting, I may look up the recipe and make it myself. And other than that, answer the question, use the keyword. Wish you good luck. I hope that you have a wonderful day tomorrow, and know that I'm extremely grateful for all of you. I'm glad you spent your time here and stopped by for a visit. I hope you'll come back. If you like what you see, you can subscribe and click the bell so that you can see when I post. I'm hoping to post probably Saturday or Sunday my ornaments, so I hope you'll come back and watch them, because I think they're beautiful, and I think it'll be fun to share them with you before I put them on the tree. And until then, I would like you to be courageous, be confident, be creative, and be kind, and have a wonderful week. Bye.